Hello, denizens. Your former network executive here to discuss the first episode of Wednesday, season 2 on Netflix. No, I don't binge watch shows. At the very least, I watch them a day apart. I'm not an animal, unless it's Hunter x Hunter. There will be spoilers, but the point of this review is not to give you a blow by blow of what is happening. You know that's not my jam. I'm more interested in this whole streaming business and how it's evolving. I think with 300 million subscribers, Netflix is the de facto winner. Amazon Prime claims 200 million, but how many are just Prime, default Prime next day delivery subscribers who have no idea Amazon has a streaming service? Amazon doesn't break out those numbers. Disney claims 125 million, and like Amazon, has millions of subscribers who have no idea Disney Plus is a streaming service. I'm joking. Wednesday was a huge hit for Netflix, and fans have had to suffer through the nonsensical delays streamers impose. Season 1 of Wednesday's 8 episodes debuted on November 23rd, 2022. Season 2 just landed, divided into 2 4-part episodes, which I'll talk about later. But this first 4-episode segment arrived August 6th, 2025. That's very nearly a 3-year gap. Is it any wonder why we hate streamers? They get us all excited in a project and then make us wait. We had to wait 2 years between Rings of Power seasons. Okay, I could have waited longer, like when I'm dead. But in 3 years, Jenna Ortega could have grown from 5 feet 1 inch to 5 foot 2 inches. Disaster. Thing seemed to have gained a bit of weight. If Netflix was smart, they wouldn't have just used trailers to promote season 2. They should have been promoting the rewatching of season 1. Okay, that would make business sense, right? Okay, never mind. Okay, let's cover off some changes and thoughts. Season 2 introduces us to the new principal, Dort, played by Steve Buscemi, who we all love, Isaac Ordonez as Pugsley Adams, and I know there are other new characters coming just based on the trailer, but they don't show up in the first episode, so I'm not going to comment on them. All our favorite returning characters, they return. Enid, Morticia, and Gomez Adams. The show immediately starts with 2 mysteries, a death by ravens, similar to Hitchcock's The Birds, and Wednesday has a secret stalker, apparently. This time, when she arrives at school, Wednesday is hailed as a hero. She hates the attention. Pugsley gets a dorm roommate. The school is in financial trouble, and Principal Dort wants Morticia to lead a fundraising effort. This way, the creators of the show were able to include Catherine Zeta-Jones and Luis Guzman and potentially make the show more like an Addams Family adventure, which actually makes a lot of sense. Something strange is going on with Jones facially, but her acting presence absolutely helped episode 1. Luis Guzman, I think, must have been threatened to enunciate better because I could actually understand him this time. He and Jones don't have much zing together. They never did, but at least he does look the part. Frankly, even with the introduction of the mystery and the murder, the show still felt like it started slowly. And, because we had to get introduced to the new characters and refreshed about the old characters because it's been 3 freaking years. The show has mysteries, people dying. Wednesday is her wonderful, droll self. It was a more than adequate start to the new season. It definitely did not turn me off from wanting to watch the next episode, which to me, that's a success. Murder mysteries are a bit of a cheat in that way. I love the mother-daughter relationship between Morticia and Wednesday. I appreciated the honesty and lack of camp in their performances. I loved where that's going. Not having the entire series fall on the slim shoulders of Jenna Ortega, as in season 1, was a really wise idea. I'm never a fan of stories about having to raise money to survive, but Buscemi was up for the task. The magic stuff and the different factions in the school are not as well fleshed out as in Harry Potter, which this show is heavily influenced by. But it's just fine. In fact, as I said about season 1, Warner Brothers was doing sweet dick all with Hogwarts, so why not let another show grab that, British uniform prep school shtick? And if you recall, it was soon after that, suddenly Warner Brothers introduced the idea of teasing out the original Harry Potter books into a series. I wonder what motivated Warners to get off their fat ass. Getting back to why 2 sets of 4 episodes, well, it looks like Netflix finally heeded some good advice and stopped the day 1 dumping of entire seasons. First off, I think anticipation is a good thing. It matures us. Splitting a season in 2 is not a bad compromise between the big dump and waiting a bit. Netflix opted for the split format to maximize engagement and extend cultural impact. Their words, not mine. Apparently, there will be a cliffhanger ending of episode 4, which, again, makes great sense. This release pattern mirrors what Netflix has done with other big titles like Stranger Things and Bridgerton to extend viewer anticipation and keep discussion alive. See, there was nothing so hard about that, was there, Netflix? Part 2 arrives September 3rd, 2025, basically a month after Part 1. Not much of a hardship. What do you think? Are you feeling hard done by? Besides, after September 3rd, everything will be available for binge watching as usual. One last point I want to mention. Episode 1 was directed by Tim Burton, with an excessive use of shallow depth of field, where the background and foreground is severely blurred. I actually prefer less depth of field, like the old Hollywood movies, where you could always see the context of the scene and the other actors in it. Why 2 people standing maybe 2 feet away from the speaking actor have to be so severely out of focus? I have no frickin' clue. And it was extremely distracting. But these new digital toys, camera toys, can do it so easily, so why not abuse it? So that's all I have to say. I thought it was a pretty good show, good introduction. Have you seen Wednesday Season 2? What did you think? So long, denizens.